We're continuing to talk about empirical probabilities with this table. This time we're going to start looking at what are called compound probabilities. Compound probabilities involve the words and, or not. And we're going to start with not. Remember we discussed that the word not is associated with subtracting. And in particular, it usually means subtract from 1. Why do we subtract from 1? Because that's basically the largest that a probability can be. It represents 100%. So if something can either happen or not happen, then if you add those probabilities together, you get 100%. If there's a 30% chance that it will rain, there's a 70% chance that it will not. So let's try that with the problem, picking up from where we left off. We just did this problem. If you choose a monthly subscriber, what's the probability that he's a gold member? And we've solved that problem already, and we found out that the answer is 1 out of 8. So if we ask now, we're going to choose a monthly member and find the probability that he is not a gold member. Okay, so when we see not, that means that you're going to take this probability and subtract it from 1. I hope you remember your fraction arithmetic. 1 minus 1/8 is 7/8. So whenever you subtract any fraction from 1, you're basically just subtracting the numerator from the denominator. Okay, so that's really easy when we do it that way. Just to confirm or get a little understanding of why that works, basically everybody, all the monthly members who are not gold, are either basic or premium. And remember, since we're choosing monthly, we don't care about anybody else in this table. We're only looking at the first row. And out of all those 16,000 subscribers, which ones are not gold? The basics and the premiums. That adds up to 14. And what do you know? That's 7/8. Let's go on to the word and. Remember again that in the empirical table, and represents overlap. If you choose a subscriber, what is the probability that he is a basic member and is an annual subscriber? So this fraction will have the number of subscribers on the bottom. If you choose a subscriber, so how many subscribers are there? And that's represented by a grand total of 24,000 of them. How many of those are basic and annual? Well, the basics are in the first column, and the annuals are in the second row. First column, second row, that gives us these 5,000 subscribers right there. 5 out of 24. And what about the word or? Remember, we associate the word or with adding. So the next problem says, if you choose a subscriber, what is the probability that she is a basic member or a premium member? Let's form our denominator, our fraction with denominator first. We're choosing from among all the subscribers. There are 24,000 of them. How many of them are basics or premiums? So we see that there are, how many basics are there altogether? There are 13 of them. So this is the basics. And then how many are premiums? 8 out of the 24. And what does or mean? Plus. So when we add those together, we get 21 out of 24. So the basic rule here is that to find the probability of basics or premiums, we can add the probability of basic plus the probability of premium. Now I need to draw your attention, something really important about this last example, and that is the basics and the premiums are two completely different columns. They don't overlap each other. They're completely separate and distinct. Again, there's a fancy word for that. It is mutually exclusive, or sometimes called disjoint. But in any event, it's very clear that we can just add these numbers to those numbers because there's no complications involving people who might be both basic and premium. So that's the situation where we can just use this direct, very simple rule with adding probabilities. But in our next example, we are going to complicate the situation a little bit with an overlapping situation. So this next example says, if you choose a subscriber, what is the probability that she is a basic member or a monthly subscriber? So let's just proceed naively for now, and then kind of see where we run into trouble. So we just saw a minute ago that when we see or, we add. So let's try that, see if it works in this case. First of all, obviously, this is going to be a fraction with the number of subscribers on the bottom. That would be 24. All right. How many of these subscribers are basic? Well, these are all the basic subscribers, and there are 13 of them. How many subscribers are monthly? Well, these are all the monthly subscribers, and altogether, there are 16 of them. Basic, monthly. And what does or mean again? Or means plus, right? We just talked about that formula. Okay, well, 13 plus 16 is 29. So would the answer be 29 out of 24? No, because that's impossible. You can't have a probability that's more than 1. You can't choose, there can't be 29 people out of 24. So something is not wrong, but something's complicated. When I circled this row and this column, what did you notice? They overlap each other. So if you're literally counting people and adding them up, you would be saying, let's see, basic. Okay, so basic, there are 8,000 plus 5,000. And then the monthly subscribers. All right, 8,000 plus 6,000 plus 2,000. Well, we just counted these 8,000 people twice because they were counted as both basics and monthlies. That's the problem, or that's the complication here. So since we counted these 8,000 people twice, we basically now have to fix the problem by subtracting them once. And so we end up with a legitimate answer. We end up with 21 out of 24. And that's what you would get if you just basically count everybody that you circled once, ignoring the totals. But if we just add 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 2, we would get 21. But the way we usually come at that is that we add this total, 16, plus this total, 13, and then we take away the 8 where they overlap each other so that we don't count them twice. So that gives us the full formula for or. The correct formula for the probability of B or M, basic or monthly, is that we add the probability of basic plus the probability of monthly, but then we have to subtract the probability of being basic and monthly.